So are we ready? Yes, we are on leave. Hello everyone, welcome again. It's nice to see you here. So let me introduce our speakers today. Gabriele Milani, the National Director of Italy Organized Tourism Federation. And Alcilder, the Director of Visit Reykjavik, the Chairman of the Board of Reykjavik Convention Bureau. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is good, if not, sorry. And Thanos Pascalis, the CEO of Elinair.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Welcome. So, let's start the topic today. The situation of COVID-19 is getting better all around the world. So let's say this will come to an end finally. And now it's time to talk about the things after COVID-19. So today I would like to talk about the current situation in your countries, when the tourism will gonna start, what will be the new regulations after COVID-19. So I have prepared many questions. I'm so excited right now. So let me start. And if you want to add something, please add it freely. So we can start with, we know in most European countries, the regulations became more flexible from 4th of May. And there will be updates on 1st of June, I guess. So I would like to ask you about the current situation in each country in terms of travel industry and the airlines. So Gabriele, can we start with you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. And first of all, thank you for this great opportunity to be with you in this webinar today. Thank you, Marve, that you will moderate the panel, and in particular to Gökhan. Ciao to the other people that are connected to this webinar, in particular to the travel agent and the tour operators. With a lot of them, we met in Istanbul at the Usakrota Travel Summit at mid of December. It seems years ago. But let me introduce myself. I'm Gabriele Milani, and I'm the National Director of FTO, the Italian Tourism Federation, and it's one of the biggest association for tourism in Italy. We represent tour operators, travel agents, networks of travel agents, and services connected to these players. So what about the current situation in Italy? It's obviously really bad. We have been very consistent from a sanitary point of view. That means that we have implemented the at-home procedures in a very strict way. Italy is in its lockdown since the first week of March, so the impact is very strong for tourism, and it's not only for the bookings that have to come, but even for all the cancellation of booking that were already have been put in place. So there have been a lot of extraordinary work for tour operators and travel agents, not only to get people back from other countries to Italy, that has been as well very expensive, but as well to cancel the bookings that were already in place. So we are thinking that for our industry, we will lose more or less 75-80% of the volumes for these years. And as today, the airlines have reduced their flights by 95% of the ordinary volumes. That is more or less the actual situation in Italy.
I see. What about you, Alcilder?
Well,
how is the situation in Iceland?
The situation is very similar here in Iceland as it is in other European countries. We have seen a 95% decline in bookings coming and tourists coming to Iceland. There are few in the country at the moment, but most of the hotels, they are empty. And obviously, all the adventure tourist companies, they haven't seen any tourists over the last few weeks. We locked down probably around the 15th of March, and we only have one Icelandic airline, so we basically rely on them, being prepared to bring tourists back to Iceland whenever we see an open interest in coming back to the country. Obviously, the other companies are having difficulties as well because people are in a slow pace at the moment. Icelanders, many are losing their jobs. We see not so much businesses other than people just buying their necessities. So at the moment everything is in a very slow pace, but we are optimistic as a nation. We have always been. Tourism is the biggest industry in Iceland. It has been for approximately 4 to 5 years now. Before that, the seafood industry was the biggest industry. So obviously we rely a lot on the tourists. So we hopefully get them as soon as borders open around Europe.
Yeah, actually, I saw in the news about both Italy and Iceland. There were some flexible regulation. For example, the people can start now going out. I mean, doing gymnastic outside, doing some sports outside, or using even some parks. These kind of flexibilities are coming. So I thought the situation is going a little bit better. Of course, it's not the normal as it was before, but I think it's going better currently for both countries, right?
Yeah, that's true. At least here in Iceland, businesses are opening up. We are allowed to be in groups. In the businesses, people can be up to 50 employees in the offices at the same time. So maybe some of the businesses have to split up the employees. Maybe you will work every other day or every other week or so. Yeah. But it's still, as I say, in a very slow pace here.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, Marve, in Italy as well. We have reopened some activities this week, and we are allowed to go outside for gym or in parks and what else. And we will see what is going to happen in the next 2 weeks, because we have another important due date that is at mid of this month. If everything is going okay from a sanitary point of view, we will open a lot of more activities. Even travel agents will be allowed to open their activities. So we have these 2 weeks that are crucial. That means that we are monitoring very well how it's going from a medical point of view.
I see. I'm just afraid to ask this to Greece, but actually I heard good news about Greece. But in terms of the airlines, I'm sure it's gonna be a very tough question for you. But let's ask you some information, please, Thomas.
Hello to everyone, and Kalispera from Thessaloniki. Things are extremely difficult for the airlines. I mean, let's look at the crisis first. I think we don't have to say that this is an unprecedented situation. We're talking probably about the worst crisis in aviation since conception, the worst crisis in the UK for over 300 years, and obviously the worst crisis in finance, where it makes the 2008 look like a child's play. So we are talking about serious numbers here. So first of all, about Greece. The positive thing is that we've contained the outbreak. We're very lucky to have very few deaths. We're less than 150 deaths in Greece, which is very positive, and we hope that this trend kind of continues. So what did we have? We had a total lockdown, I think, from the second week of March, and we got the first restrictions lifted on the 4th of May, where we can actually go out without having special paperwork. The second step is 18th of May, where we can travel within Greece. And for the islands, that's absolutely critical. We're talking the 1st of June. So the critical dates is 1st of June for the islands and 1st of July for international traffic, which is still a question mark. So we hope that we'll be able to get some movement of tourists by the 1st of July.
I see. So the domestic flights might be started from the June, right? I mean, for the people, let's say, for the islands at least.
Correct. For the islands, it's 1st of June. For the rest of the country, it's 18th of May where we open up. But don't expect that the traffic or that we have passengers for that. So that's our opening. We need to create the confidence and get people traveling again.
I see. I think the most common question about the European countries, there are a lot of humors about the Schengen visa. For example, in Turkey, there are news that you might... the current Schengen visas might not be applicable after this crisis because we might need some different procedures like health passports, health check documents, these kind of things. What do you think about this Schengen visa situation? What is the current speeches about it? Can we start with Gabriel again, or?
Let's say that at national level, we started to submit the procedures and the protocols to our government to start the operations, and it's already a difficult way to restart because depending on the protocols that will be accepted, we will understand what are the economic conditions that are sustainable to be at the operational level. Let's make an example. If on flights it will be decided that you have to have a maximum people in an airplane, maybe that limit will not permit to have a sustainable economical flight, and as well for restaurants and hotels and so on. So the first step we are performing is at national level. At European, and we don't know as today if you can move from one region, national region of Italy, to another. So at this moment, we are not permitted to move from a region to another, and not all the regions have been have had the same problem, the same number of deaths, the same number of people that are in hospital. So from the European point of view, I would say that no one could say when and how the borders will reopen for travel. And so regarding the lifting of this measure, some European countries are still skeptical whether this is the right decision or not, as it could lead Europe to a second wave of the coronavirus. And I would say that the worst thing overall would be if we start again and then we have to stop again.
I see. So first we need to just understand if we can start moving in the region, then we will talk about the Schengen visas, right, again?
Yeah.
What about you, Alcilder? Do you have anything to add about this one?
Not so much. I mean, obviously we want to protect ourselves as a nation first, and we obviously want to make sure that the residents here in Iceland will be protected as much as they can against the virus. Fortunately, we have had many tested. We have only seen 10 deaths because of the virus here in Iceland, and we are allowed to stay outside, and we have been allowed to go outside. So even though everything was in lockdown in Iceland, and but we have more opens now. Obviously, we also have to follow what will happen in Europe, even though the government is taking decisions that matter to Iceland foremost. Then we will obviously see what will happen in other countries in Europe and maybe follow when we see that other borders will open.
I see. So we need to wait a little bit more about these Schengen visa issues. But I just heard today's news in Turkey that, the embassies will just started receiving the applications again. I think from this week or next week, it's going to be started. So hopefully we will have some results within this week, understand what will going to happen. But in Italy, we heard also that, Gabriel, you are planning to close the borders until the end of this year. Is it just humor, or do you have any plan? Because we know that the tourism was a very important industry for Italy too. So do you have any plan just to close it for until the end of this year?
No, hopefully we are. There is no decisions already taken. That means that we are living one day after another, and with a lot of weight on the security and safety aspects. First of all, so I would say that tourism and business come a moment later of this importance for security. Italy lives on tourism. Last year we had the weight for the overnight stay that has been superior to the domestic one. So international tourism for us is life, but we are going to estimate that this year probably the international travelers will weight only 10% of the total. So it's a big change. And there are some interesting information as well for domestic travelers that will change a lot. We have done a survey with more or less than 3,000 frequent travelers, and this analysis shows that 75% of these travelers wants to travel in 2020. So it's good news. For the people that don't want to travel in 2020, the first reason is 63% of the people who don't want to travel is for fear, and 15% for budget reason, the economic budget, and 6% because they do not have vacation days anymore. And when they would like to travel, 55% from autumn till the end of the year, and only 18% in July and 19% in August. And the length for the 45% of the people, there will be a reduced period of vacation. For 48%, the budget will be reduced. And for the 83% of these people, they will go to Italy. And good news, the second destination will be Greece, and the third will be Maldives. And the most important reason to go to a destination is for security. And the type of vacation probably will be a short break for the 42% of people, and with which transport they say that they will use their own mean of transport. So at the end of this analysis, we could say that we will have to put in place as a touristic product flexibility and convenience. So people are looking for example, houses with a swimming pool or direct access to sea, to mountains, and to paths, and it will be important for us, for the players, for the touristic players, to have a security protocols and certification, and as well as I said before, the cancellation and reimbursement policies with maximum flexibilities. So as long as people have a reduced budget as well, the offer will have to be reviewed.
I see. So it's going to come to the same thing again. There are some speeches like the immunity passports even. They are saying that, before if you want to travel, I think in UK, they just started to talk about this immunity passport. If you want to travel, you need to have this health check and this medical document that you already has passed this, virus, then you can start moving. Is it a kind of this also they are planning in EU? Do you have any idea about it?
Well, I think that a lot of measures are being talked at, and here we have the key. I mean, if you look at Greece, and I agree with Gabriele as well. I mean, we live out of tourism. 30% of our GDP comes from that. So obviously for us, it's important that we get confidence back in the people. It's important that we, of course, remain safe and healthy as such, but people want to travel, as you correctly said before. People want to get a change in atmosphere and attitude. So for us, it's absolutely imperative that whatever measures are put in are simple and straightforward. We're discussing about social distancing at airports and aircraft. It's not that easy. We have to remain realistic, and of course we have to get benefit to safety. If you look at, for instance, what could happen where social distancing to board an aircraft, and then we all get onto the same bus to be taken to the terminal. So there is no positive effect. But the passport with respect to health is important if it's simple and there are no other measures attached to it. If we have other measures attached to it, then one cancels out the other. One quick note about the Schengen visa as well. Come on, guys, let's get rid of it for a year. We need the people. Whoever wants to travel needs to travel now. So we are campaigning for at least 1 year to allow people to travel, tourists as such, to travel without a visa.
I think this will be really, really good idea when we make it. I think this will be really good effects in the travel industry for our country as well, because, you know, it's too tough to get the Schengen visa. It's getting easier for us, but still most of the Asian countries especially have some difficulties to receiving this, and the Asian people also like the European area so much. So this kind of visa will be, you know, easy taking visa will be very effective for all the markets, I believe. But Thanos, I want to ask you one more thing. When we come to budgets, I mean, so this social distancing thing, they are thinking that, you know, and there's a speeches that in the flights, they are planning to take out one seat in the middle. Then, you know, the capacity of the flight will be like 40% decrease. And still, it will not be the, you know, real social distancing, not like more than 1 meter actually. But when it comes like that, actually this will affect the cost for the airlines. This will affect the sales price. And now Gabriel already told us that, you know, I think like 10%, almost 10% of the people are thinking about the budget when they're traveling. So this will definitely make a, you know, very bad results when we think about it. What's the foresight about this social distancing inside the planes?
It's not feasible. Let's be realistic. I mean, we are in an aircraft and the middle seat is about 30 centimeters away from the other passenger. So effectively, by keeping the middle seat empty, we are not increasing safety, we are not benefiting in health in any way, and we are making any flight more or less unprofitable. There is no way that this flight can actually take place. So there are two routes we go. Either we decide to subsidize travel, which is something that's also being discussed, but how do you do it? How do you do it fairly? How do you keep every airline in the right, let's say, level of what they should receive and what they should not receive? Or we have to allow the flight to take part as per normal. But the middle seat basically is not effective with respect to health and is not effective with respect to a viable aircraft flight from A to B in any case.
Yeah, actually today the Turkish Airlines also make an explanation like that, you know, it's not logical to take out one seat in the middle and make this cost paid by the other guests. It will not be fair for all the things. So we need to talk about some different protocols all around the world, because, you know, this should be with the worldwide standards for the airlines. It will not be like one country, each decision. So I think it's going to be quite tough.
And then when you get out of the airplane, what will happen? Will you keep the social distance when you're at the airport, or will you then be cramping with all the other passengers? So, I mean, it's not just about the flight. It's just about the whole, you know, chain from you going from the destination to the next.
Definitely. Even in the taxi drivers, from the airport, when you take a taxi, what's going to be happening? How you can open 1 meter with the taxi driver? So I think it's going to be quite effects. There are a lot of effects we need to think about.
In Greece, we had, up till yesterday, they had 1 person per taxi, which is actually ridiculous. Now they increased it to 2 people per taxi. But imagine a family arriving for a holiday, and there are 4 people, they have to take 2 taxis. If there's 6
Even
people,
4, when you think about one, it's crazy. I think you cannot find this much taxi in islands, huh?
Every measure has to be realistic and must be effective. But we have to allow people to make, obviously, their living. We're affecting life daily with what's actually going on. We need to remain safe. We need to remain healthy. But we must think about everything else, because life does continue.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about a little bit more travel trends. Actually, after this Generation Y, everything has changed a little, right? Even before this COVID-19 crisis, the people just start Generation Y, asking for more make your own tours, festivals, boutique services, more individual based things. And, after this virus, I think it's a worldwide crisis. After all the crises, the world is changing, but it's a worldwide crisis. So I believe the trends of the travel are going to definitely change. So what do you think about it? Gabriel, how do you feel it's going to change?
Yeah, it's going to change very much, not only in the short period, but as well in the future, for the future. As some people call it, the new normal. I would say that our habits and the travelers' habits will change for the future. And for example, we are working very much in this period to review the digital presence and of the operators and their capability to benefit from the social networks and their digital presence. And I would say that for this there is much room for improvement in the tourism sector, but in particular in Italy. And so we have learned that usually we have the resistance that change and the resistance to change that prevents us to adopt new technologies and the related opportunities. And on the other side, very often we do not have the skills to do it. So this period has been very useful in Italy to understand that things are less difficult than could appear to change. We have been forced to change, and we have done it very easily. We have benefit from technologies to get in touch with people for professional and personal reasons, and it has been really useful to adopt these new technologies. And we are training very much all our associates to understand how they have to review their models, their business, their offers at the company level and at the destination level, because the travelers in any case will look for this summer and for this year for something very different. But I would say that this will appear as well for the future.
Yeah, actually, I think it's the most important part here for the tour operators, because the mentality of the tour operators is now changing to travel consultants. So you need to make a good segmentation. Yesterday, there was also a very nice webinar about this. You should just concentrate on the segmentation. You should product more experience-based tour products. So I think the role of the tour operators will be quite changed about it. What do you think about it, Austri?
Well, if we talk about it more generally, I would think that we will see less people traveling for business because we have seen that the technology is useful. We don't have to meet in meeting rooms to connect with ideas or develop some new products or whatever, we can do it online. I think we have maybe seen too much travel with business people going from one country to another. Other thing that I think we will see change in, I think we will see less people travel for city traveling. I think people will travel more for adventure and nature travel. And I'm hoping that Iceland will gain from that in the nearest future. I, for myself, if I just look into, I wouldn't want to maybe go to one of the bigger cities in the next few months, at least, and not until we see that we have gone rid of the virus worldwide. So that's my opinion. Generally,
Yeah, thank you. And Thanos, I think also airlines are positioning by themselves also about this independent traveling. I mean, after this generation Y started moving by themselves in order with backpackers. I mean, when it comes to easier to travel around the world, and the airlines also doing some, promotions, actually better rates more than travel agents most of the time. How you position yourself about this changing future demands of the travel industry?
I think it was a changing world, and the travel experience had to be personalized. Different people wanted different things, and you could bundle different products in a whole trip, and everybody would have kind of a different experience. So that was the trend that we were going. Obviously, we have a bit of a change of plans now with respect to health coming into travel. As you can imagine, the previous shock that we had that was non-financial related was 9/11. So it was security shock. Now we have a health shock. So there will be changes in how people travel, how people see it. But I still inherently believe that people want to travel, people want to see other people face to face, they want to meet, and even though I understand what's been said, I still think even in business you need to be face to face, you need to shake a hand. So I hope that we can get, first of all, a vaccine and a cure. Having done that, we need to afterwards continue and unite the world. Let's get people traveling again, and let's shake hands, and let's hug, and let's kiss. That's all.
This is very Mediterranean. We love touching people when we are talking. I totally understand here. And, we just talk about a lot of digital transformation, even when we are talking about these future trends in the travel market. So what we think about promoting destinations with the digital changing digital transformation time? I mean, for example, today I will have a virtual expo, not only the webinars or the lessons, we also have these virtual expos. So how this will affect the promotion of each destination? Silvio or Gabriel?
Yeah, we, as I said before, we should try to benefit from these changes as well from a digital point of view. For example, for a destination, I would say that you have to empowering your storytelling capacity, and you have to reinvent your marketing destination playbook, because people are looking for something very different, and you have to drive the impact and inspire people to come and travel. And I would say as well that if you are able to transmit, to communicate security and the protocols and certification that are in place in your destination, that would be a very good plus for your travelers. In our sector, we need much more to cooperate with startups, for example, because innovation is very, very fast, but in this moment is changing the world. So we are not able to do it by ourselves. So we have to make an open innovation to start to use the startups and to benefit for their speed. And on the other side, we have to make more training to our people, or to review our education process as well at national level. And there are new professions. We were already talking about artificial intelligence, data scientists, and all these professions are growing at this moment. And new professions are coming, because related to security, we will have in place new people with new professions. So this is the scenario, on which we have to move, and we have to move on it very, very, very quickly. And in Italy, it's a shame that we are losing a lot of time to speak with institutions to obtain economic resources for the companies to survive. And it's a shame, because we are losing an opportunity to invest in our future. And so we should change the approach to the world, and in Italy we have to do it, because tourism for us is the future.
The education level will be really important. Actually, I believe it. So it's I think the key point after we have learned after this session. What do you think about it, Asri?
Are you talking to me? Yeah.
Yes. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, no problem. What was the question again? Can you repeat the one?
What's the current promotion trends? I mean, how will be the destination promotions after these digital transformations all around the world? How this will affect the industry to make the digital, promotions?
Mm-hmm. I think, for instance, for Iceland, I think we will rely on promoting the country as the pure nature destination. So that's going to be probably the main point. I think it's obviously really important to use all the new technology, the social media, the intellectual artificial technology.
Yeah, like 3D movies around, 3D videos, museums, from the museums.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen so much as you get to the country, as how we will promote it when marketing-wise.
Yeah. What about the airlines? What do you think about it? What's going to be changed about the promotions of the airlines?
Well, I think the transformation really started a few years ago, and obviously social media and a number of other IT-related artificial intelligence was coming into how we actually chase a customer, how we follow up with a customer, how we keep in touch with a customer. I think the situation that we have now with COVID-19 will just cement all of this further in. And obviously our ways of how we actually train our people now and how we go about it will definitely change in some way. So we have to embrace this kind of technology and this kind of change, and it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
So I think the most important for the airlines will be the new procedures, right? First, we need to think about the new procedures. Maybe they will all concentrate on the promoting the security things inside the airlines.
Correct.
I see. And, most of the people now are talking. I just read an architect about travel anxiety. Travel anxiety. Many people are talking about this. What do you think about it? Do you think that people will start traveling again? How they get rid of this travel anxiety? Even for me, it's hard for me to go out, even for the market right now after staying at home almost 2 months. So how do you feel about it? It's going to change in a time, or how many days it's going to take? How many months? Or we lost already this season?
I think if you look at it from an airline side, obviously it all depends. This is a very critical phase now. It's a critical phase for the virus. It's a critical phase to assess what's been done and what needs to be done. But we need to get confidence back into the people. It's not easy. It's going to be there. And you can see it by definition. You know, if you go out, you see people trying to distance themselves by definition, and it's something that we'll have to deal with. As I said before, originally our anxiety at an airport was security. Now we have two issues to deal with, and a lot of it is not easy, because when you're in an aircraft and we're talking about anything between 100 and 300-400 passengers, it's very difficult to be apart. It's very difficult to use a number of other methods that have been suggested, like plexiglass or things like this. We have to manage to solve the anxiety issue with a proper vaccine and a proper more or less health solution to the virus. Let's not forget that tomorrow we might have another virus. What do we do next time for COVID-21? Do we shut everything down again? I mean, the destruction and the famine and the poverty that's being created, with over 40 million unemployed in the US. In Italy, I'm sure you have a huge number of people working in tourism. The same in Iceland. In Greece, it's a huge amount. From restaurants to every part of hospitality. And it must remain reasonable, and we must salvage it, because again, traveling is part of what people like. It's part of what we look forward to in our holiday when we stop working, and we must sustain it. But the only viable solution here is a vaccine and a cure.
I think this should be like a worldwide decision. Like, you know, all the countries should make the same standards, and that maybe people will think more, you know, free to go wherever they want to go. How do you think about it, Gabriel?
Yeah, I would say that I hope people are very much resilient, so that they will pass very quickly the fear to go out, to meet people, to travel. It will depend very much on how it evolves the COVID, and if will people start to go out and the situation is going better. I would say that in a period, I hope short period, people will not become the same of before, but they will start to live again. And it's important what we have said before, the human touch, the human to human, in any case, it's an important value. And in these days, I'm speaking to travel agents, and I would say that for travel agents, it could be an opportunity to put on the table the professionality and the ability to be consultant of a destination, of a way to travel in a secure way. So they've already demonstrated that when they had to get people back to our country, they've been their angels. And maybe in a lot of situations, the online situation or people that were traveling by their own, they had a lot of problems. But we have to give a lot of value to this, and speaking to people, having people in front of you, and in a professional way, you can suggest what they're looking for. So if they're looking for nature or to go to places very private with not a lot of people, you can consult and tell them where to go. So it could be an opportunity. We have to evolve and change our approach to our customers.
Yeah, this was the thing that we have just discussed. Like, it will be like not the tour operator, like the travel consultants in each destinations make segmentation, make proper products, to make them feel more secure, maybe, huh?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
What about you?
I think that our hopes and expectations might not be in line with maybe what people are willing to do travel-wise. Obviously, we hope that as soon as borders will open up, that people will start traveling. I think people will maybe wait a while and see what happens. They will hope to see others travel and ask questions. How did that go? How did you experience the destination? Was it safe to go? Was it secure? But I agree with what was said, that I think we all need to mentor and educate travelers, tell them how they can travel safe and how they can maybe the social distance is one of the solutions. I mean, we have all learned over the last couple of weeks that the social distance has been an important way to keep safe. So obviously, when you are traveling and when we start to travel, we have to make sure to keep the social distance active in all aspects of the traveling. But I also think that we need to see how this virus will develop in all the countries in Europe over the next couple of weeks. We see a lot of decline in most countries. Fewer and fewer are getting seriously ill or hospitalized because of it. If that will continue to be the case, then hopefully people will see that it is about time to start traveling again and socialize with people in other countries as well as in their own neighborhood.
I think the social distancing will be quite tough. I mean, if you say to Turkish people the the virus has ended up, you cannot stop people hugging each other. It's just, when you see your friends after 2 months, everybody will start shaking their hands, will start hugging each other, I'm sure. So actually, the Minister of the Health in Turkey just announced that, we don't expect to start our normal life as it was before 2020. So, but we will set up a new normal life standards from now on, which we can say controlled social life. What do you think? What will be changed in each country when you say the controlled social life? Do you really think that, everything is going to change, or we'll say just hi, when we see our friends, or shall we just not go to the small bars, sit very close to each other? What things gonna change? How the things will change after this COVID-19 issue?
Well,
start with Gabriel.
Yeah.
What about Italians? I don't think that they will stop also, huh?
No, you're right. It could be very, very difficult to change our habits and our friendship and our way of living. But there are two aspects. One is the restrictions that our government will put in place, and they will be there could be an issue for as I said before, the economic activities. Some activities will not be profitable with those restrictions. So this will be a big issue for us. A restaurant could not open if you reduce of it only to 1/3 the tables, and so how it could open and how it could hire people. In Italy, we have 4 million people working for tourism. So for an employment point of view, it could be a very big issue. On the other side, I would say that first of all, it's an individual approach. If we are serious with this virus, we will have different results in a short period. So it depends very much on each of us to understand that if we cannot shake hands for some weeks, it's for us. It's for is for our friends, it's for our children. So we have to be serious on that. Apart from all the restrictions that could be put in place from someone else, and in some way we have seen that, for example, very, very young people have some difficulties to respect these restrictions, and this is a problem of education. It's a problem for all people. So we have to see how it will be. But apart from the laws, we have to be serious with ourselves.
Definitely, in Turkey we don't have exactly lockdown actually, but just to keep everyone safe, we keep on working from the home for 2 months right now. So it's I think personal responsibility to keep this social distance altogether. What about you, Avşıldır? What do you think about this? What will be the new normal life standards? What will be new normal in Iceland?
I think the new normal is going to be a bit different from the normal that we have seen so far. We see, because we have opened up businesses and people are starting to meet friends, hosting dinner parties. You can go to cafes and restaurants, but they only have every other table open. We have learned in Iceland in the last couple of weeks not to hug each other, even though it's really difficult. I was, for instance, coming from a coffee house before I came here, meeting some friends, and it was really difficult because I hadn't seen them for quite a while, to meet up with them without having the chance to give them a big hug. But for my sake and their sake, obviously we didn't hug. So I think we have been developing another way to connect with one another, and we have respected that we have to stay in a certain way away from each other to keep try to make sure that we will all be with good health, and I think people will respect it and learn from what we have already seen happening.
But do you think it's gonna, ends up like in, even after the COVID, let's say it's finished and 2 months pass, do you think that the things will be normal again, or people will continue being afraid of touching each other, or, keep on social distancing even after all this finish?
For instance, in Iceland, there are so few people that are with the virus nowadays. So I think that we will probably forget about the effect as soon as we will see 0 infected. But as we might be cautious towards those that are maybe not as close to us. Maybe we will start to hug our closest friends and family members, but be protected towards those that we are not as close to. I think we will forget about this as soon as we will see the vaccine or see some good news that give us hope that we are seeing coming to the end of this area.
So what about you, Thomas? Would you like to add something about this?
Well, I think I'm more or less covered, but at least your coffee shops are open. In Greece, the coffee shops are not open, and that's a disaster. The Greeks, we live on good coffee, and we can sit at a coffee place for a couple of hours easily. So I think I generally agree. It's going to take a bit of time, and hopefully with things getting better on the virus, we have to see some change. Obviously, we can't remain 2 meters apart. And in many cases, as I said, it's unfeasible to remain 2 meters apart, whether we're in the metro or in a bus or in an aircraft or in an airport or anywhere in our loved ones at home and so on. So it's going to take a bit of time, but we need to get back to normality, and obviously not a different normality. We need to get back to our usual selves, let's say. So the whole issue is to get some movement on what they do with a cure for COVID-19.
I think there is a question from our guest, Taylan, Mr. Taylan Kuzu. Want to ask you that do you have an opinion about opening Italy borders to other countries such as Slovenia or Croatia?
We would like to open our borders if there are the conditions to do it. So we will welcome all other countries to come to Italy if we can accept them from a security point of view. And as I said before, as today we do not know if we can move to a region to another. So we are looking forward to accept people from all over the world, and I would say that we are working on protocols, and I don't know if the passport. I'm not sure the passport is a good idea. Maybe the experiment that has been done from Emirates could be an example of how to certificate or to reduce the risk. I mean, probably in that case you cannot put the risk at zero, but maybe you can reduce it, and if you manage it, it could be a solution to restart. We will see. We have to approach it seriously and with the right speed. I mean, if there are the conditions, we will rush up and as soon as possible.
I see. And there's another personal question to you, Gabriel. Gökhan is asking if you're gonna join the Uzak Rota event this year again.
I hope so, and you promise that you will meet me with a kiss when I meet you in Istanbul, okay?
Gökhan, you heard this. You need to make a promise about this. And hopefully we can all together meet in the Uzak Rota this year at the end of the year, so we can have a dinner and just forget about this social distancing thing and just have fun all together.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost our time. So would you like to add something or tell any message to the world, to the people who are watching you? Would you like to add something?
I'd say just come to Greece. We have
Definitely.
We have mountains, we have sea. We have good food, we have good hospitality. So see you in Greece.
You see. So, another question. I'm so sorry. Just want to ask one more question. Halit Kaya is taught that the global tourism trend will move towards a more boutique direction. Do you think the existing system will keep up with new trends? Actually, we have already talked about a little digital transformation, but would you like to say something about this, Gabriel?
Yeah, I'm going to say ciao to all people that have been to this webinar, and I can assure you that next time that you will come to Italy, you will find a better country. I mean, some months ago, some cities were having a problem of over tourism. Today they would like to have that problem, but in any case, we will have to learn how to manage flows. And for example, in this summer, we will promote very much very small towns that are jewels that we have in Italy, but we know only Florence, Venice, Rome, but there are so many places where to go that are unique for a tourist, and so we will have to adapt our offer to review the flows and have people and tourism all over Italy, and more important, to have the local people that could benefit from tourism. That because this is the sustainability team we will have to work on it. We are already working on it, so that's why I think that tourism in Italy will be better, because we are trying to manage it in a better way, and with much more offer all over Italy. We have everything in Italy. We have mountains, we have a sea, we have lakes, we have a culture, we have food, we have people. So we are waiting you.
Yeah, well, I want to say it's the same here in Iceland. We have managed the COVID virus really well. We have a very strong healthcare system. We are a big island with the wilderness, this magnificent nature, few people, few Icelanders. So it's not like you will be running over tourists and other people wherever you go. We have the purest water in the world. We have the clean air. We are the most peaceful country in the world. We have the highest gender equality worldwide. It's really safe to travel around the island. The criminal rate is really low. We have really great food that is produced on the island, like the lamb meat, the dairy, and so forth. And we have the sun and the beach, and in the summertime we have the midnight sun, and we have the ice and the northern lights in the winters. So I hope we will see you in Iceland.
I hope to. You know, when the flights are open, I will definitely start flying. I think I will be the first one who is gonna take the first flight. So hope to meet you in somewhere in the world. If it's not until December, let's meet in Istanbul and have a dinner all together. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Have a great day. Stay home. Stay safe. Take care.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.